Hello and good day. Today we are going to read Sonnet 12 by William Shakespeare, and we are going to look at his perspective as to what is a good reason to have children. In comparison to Morrie's viewpoint, they may be similar reasons why children have value, or it could be a contrast, a different reason why children have value. This is what Morrie Schwartz says in the Fifth Tuesday. We talk about family, about a reason to have children. There is no experience like having children. That's all. There is no substitute for it. You cannot do it with a friend. You cannot do it with a lover. If you want the experience of having complete responsibility for another human being and to learn how to love and bond in the deepest way, then you should have children. So that is Morrie Schwartz, his perspective on why children have value, and having children is life enriching. And I will read William Shakespeare's Sonnet 12. Then I will come back and I will interpret a line or two at a time his thinking. When I do count the clock that tells the time, and see the brave day sunk in hideous night, when I behold the violet past prime, and sable curls all silvered o'er with white, when lofty trees I see barren of leaves, which erst from heat did canopy the herd, and summer's green, all girded up in sheaves, borne on the bear with white and bristly beard. Then of thy beauty do I question make, that thou amongst the waste of time must go, since sweets and beauties do themselves forsake, and die as fast as they see others grow. And nothing 'gainst time's scythe can make defense, save breed, to brave him when he takes thee hence. So in the first line, Shakespeare says, when I do count the clock that tells the time. So if I look at my watch and I see that the hands of time consistently move around, I've been seeing that is time moves forward. Time doesn't move backwards, it moves forward. And then Shakespeare says, and I see the brave day sunk in hideous night. So the clocks move forward, and even day turns into night. Even day bravely ages into a hideous or not so attractive form, meaning night. Now, you may not find night unattractive, but this is Shakespeare's perspective. And when I behold the violet past prime, and sable curls all silvered o'er with white. So there's a couple things that he brings up. One is that every flower blooms, is a bud, it blooms, and then it passes its prime. Meaning that much like we talk about human beings who are past their prime, and not to pick on myself or to say anything negative about myself, but it's a really good analogy to say that people, women in particular, had the phrase put over them, oh, she's past her prime, meaning she is no longer blooming, or childbearing years are no longer possible for her. So as I go into middle age, I am past my prime by society's viewpoints as well as biologically speaking. So even a violet ages and moves forward, and then my sable curls, the color of my hair, will eventually turn white. And, we can also say that we color our hair to hide or the age that's coming to us, but it's still there. The graying or the silvering white is still there. When lofty trees I see barren of leaves, when erst from heat did canopy the herd. So even the trees lose their hair. Even the trees, their hair, their leaves changes color. And then the hair falls out, and the herds, the animals, people can't get the beauty, the relief from the shade. So what we see Shakespeare doing here is we see Shakespeare speaking figuratively. So what's very different from literal language, the way Morrie has said his opinion, is that he comes right out and tells us this deep experience, this love, this bond, this responsibility, while Shakespeare is getting around to his point by saying, you know, age and age, we're aging, and life is aging, and the day is aging, and he still hasn't gotten to the point of Sonnet 12. Why do we have children? And this is that figurative language. He's speaking in metaphors. He's using an analogy to get us to that point. And summer's green, all girded up in sheaves, borne on the bear with white and bristly beard. Then of thy beauty do I question make. So even the fields, the cornfields, the hay fields, they're green at one point, and then the farmer goes in, cuts them, reaps them in, brings them on a cart, a bear, in this case it also means a coffin, because they're dead, to market, and sells them. And they're past their prime, so they're ready to be eaten or harvested, and they're no longer growing in a beautiful way towards the blooming. And he says, then of thy beauty do I question make. It's so interesting, this image of the bristly beard, that over time, you know, a man's beard loses its softness as the gray hairs come in and it becomes bristly or rough. And that when you look in the mirror as a person, it's almost like you can look in the field of green. And after a while, the roots, the hair is turning gray and the wrinkles, and you're trying to soften things, but you can't escape what you see. The beauty, I'm questioning my beauty. How much longer do I have where I may look attractive? That thou amongst the wastes of time must go. That I will also go into the wastes of time. I'm also going to end up in the waste barrel. I'm also going to turn into past my prime, to the place where the Grim Reaper comes and cuts me off and takes me in a coffin and brings me to my end destination. Since sweets and beauties do themselves forsake and die as fast as they see others grow. And I often say to my students, I look around the room at my teenage students and I say, you are not past your prime. You haven't even entered your prime yet. You are the bud who is yet to bloom into the beautiful violet and will enter the prime of your life when you will go into your career, where you will marry or not, have children or not, but you will live this tip-top life experience. In Shakespeare's point of view, he's saying, we realize when we see other sweets and beauties forsaking or not appreciating their own youthful beauty, that we are dying. When we are past our prime, we can see those in front of us who are not, and then it gives us one more mental check, like, oh, it's coming to an end. I'm getting closer to the point in my life where I'm closer to death than I'm being alive. And nothing 'gainst time's scythe can make defense save breed. Nothing can save me from time, capital T on time, so it's personified. The scythe is the instrument in which the farmer cuts down the grass, so it's no coincidence that the Grim Reaper is called the Grim Reaper, because he's cutting down people as though they are crops. And so nothing against time's scythe can make defense. I cannot defend myself from time eventually coming and plucking me or cutting me from this world and taking me into my death, except for breeding. Save breed. Breeding will save me. And then I ask my students, as I ask you, to think about, what does it mean to breed? Think about people who breed cats, people who breed dogs. What are they doing? Yes, they're having those animals make babies so they can sell them. And so how do I save myself from time cutting my life off? I breed. Or we as people, we have children. And then the next question is, so how does that save us? How does that protect us from being gone forever? How does that help us so that we live forever? And most likely your answer may be that you're biologically, genetically here in your children. So even when you are dead and gone and put in the grave, in your children then have children, and then their children have children, your genetic matter lives on over time through them. So you don't really die physically completely. And then he ends, to brave him when he takes thee hence. So this idea that, if you have kids, if you have a child, and your time comes, your time, capital T, comes and takes you, you can be brave because you know that you're living on forever in your children. It's kind of ironic, too, that William Shakespeare, his 3 children predeceased him. So genetically speaking, he did not beat time, genetically speaking, because his children did not have children that he was able to give his money, his legacy, or his genetics to. However, his writing, we could say this metaphorically, that his writing is those pieces, those sonnets, those plays, those are his children. He birthed them out of his thoughts, out of his heart, out of his mind. And every time we write something, we birth a part of ourselves that can go on and live eternally. And you even think, if we compare this to Morrie sharing his words, all of the words, not just his opinion on why to have children, every word that Morrie shares, because it's been placed in this memoir, is him escaping time's scythe, because his words are preserved forever and read forever. He also was a teacher. And so all of those students who were his students have a piece of his ideas, his caring in them forever, as long as they live. These are the 2 viewpoints, Morrie's viewpoint on why to have children, and Shakespeare's viewpoint on why to have children. And I hope you enjoyed listening to my interpretation. I look forward to our next chapter in Tuesdays with Morrie, which will be the 6th Tuesday. We talk about emotions. I hope you have a very nice day. Bye-bye.